Ooh, hello, and welcome to the first ever Stratus exclusive Cloud9 LCS Roster Review, AMA, presented by Blockchain.com and Polygon. Wanna get the Cloud9 news first? Just join Stratus today. You can get 2 free months of Stratus thanks to Blockchain.com. Thank you, Blockchain. Just go on the website, c9.g/wallet, and that's it. There's gonna be a form, and you're gonna submit your information, and boom, right there. I am your host, Mateus Portillo, and today I am joined by Jack Etienne, co-founder and CEO of Cloud9, and Fudge, top laner of the Cloud9 roster. Well, I hope you're still in the team. That's why you're here, I guess. How are you guys doing today?
I'm doing amazing. I'm chilling in my off season. I had to come in to do some quick Stratus content. Love Stratus, so I had to come here. And then, I'm looking forward to telling everyone all the leaks, all the information. This is where you get it. So that's why I'm here.
Hell yeah. Jacob Wolf has nothing on us. What about you, Jack?
I'm really happy to be with the Stratus family. I saw a lot of you guys at Worlds, which was really fun, and really wanted to share this information with you guys. You guys are the first to officially hear about our roster.
Perfect. We love Stratus. Also, like, one of the coolest communities to play A-runs with. Shout outs.
True.
And I think we're set. We're good to go. I'm going to pass to the guest to talk about the most recent updates regarding the Cloud9, LCS, and Challenger roster. Jack, go ahead.
Okay, guys. So there's been a lot of rumors out there, and Fudge and I are here to give you the real story about how we built the 2023 roster. And, at the end of the season, one of the first things that we do is we get together as a team, talk about, what we liked, what we didn't like. And then I spent a lot of one-on-ones with the players trying to understand, like, how are we gonna do better for next year? What do you guys want to see? What changes do you want? We talk about coaching, we talk about management, we talk about the workout, we talk about food, and we talk about our teammates. And honestly, I gotta say, like, this was this offseason, there was really no drama.
Yeah.
I think the players really enjoyed playing with each other. And there was no like, oh, we got to change this dude.
Yeah, it was definitely very different for me, where I come into the offseason usually with like a lot of stress and like, oh, I don't like this player, or this player doesn't like me, or this player doesn't like this other player. And it's like, this time I just went in and I was like, I like all my teammates.
Yeah.
I enjoy playing with them. And I think I just want to run it back. And then obviously, like, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But I was really happy with how like everyone seemed to like playing with each other. And even at Worlds this year, although we didn't like play well, don't get me wrong, I think that it was a lot more of a calm environment, that we were able to just focus on the games rather than like have like internal stuff going on.
Yeah.
Like previous years in C9, at least, that I've been on.
The team really was able to work well together. We liked working well together, and we actually learned a lot together. And when you think about the age of the roster, like, we didn't start playing together until week 3 of scrims.
Yeah. It wasn't even like, I think did we even play together in week 3? I think it might have been.
It was maybe after week 3. I can't remember. It was very late.
Yeah, it wasn't even.
We basically had 5 weeks of actual playing on stage before playoffs.
Yeah.
And when I think about teams, I generally don't see a new roster like start playing well together for 3 weeks. So 3 of those weeks we're just trying to figure out how we work together. And then the next 2 was like, okay, how do we polish this up? And the fact that we're actually able to win the entire split, I don't think any of us going into building that summer roster were like, okay, we're going to win this split.
I mean, for me, I actually thought that our roster was good, but going into playoffs, I definitely did not feel like we were better like than the other teams. I thought like we were close, I did not see us have a direct advantage over any of the other teams. But then everything seemed to sort of just click.
Yeah.
And the meta was really good for us. We had pretty good like relationships with each other. So we actually had pretty good like synergy in game. We trusted each other's calls. I think Blaber especially, we trusted a lot of his calls, and he made some really good calls in playoffs in terms of like all the like playoff games, and sort of just dominated them in playoffs, which I definitely was not expecting.
Right. So all that's to say is that this was a very young team. We liked what we saw going into playoffs and how we did in playoffs, and going into Worlds. We had we didn't have we hadn't worked through a bunch of metas through the entire year. Like we just kind of had one meta that we worked on, one meta we figured out, and the Worlds meta things changed, and we didn't even have time really to figure it out.
Yeah.
So none of us wanted to okay, let's hit the reset now. We still wanted to say, what can this roster do? So going into building the roster, the initial idea is okay, let's keep the same team. While all this is going on, the economy is in a bad place.
Yeah.
Sponsors are I'm not sure if I can renew with you. And I'm counting my dollars. I'm like, So guys, we're gonna have to make some adjustments, because when we built that summer roster, when we were just we need to build a roster that could get to Worlds.
Yeah.
And when I picked up Jensen, I was like, okay, what you want is a lot, but I don't care. You're going to get us to Worlds, and we'll figure it out after Worlds. When winning the split was a huge surprise. That was awesome. But when it came to, okay, what's the finances look for next year? I actually need to contract the budget that I have for next year. Who's willing to take a pay cut? Who's willing to go with less? Especially after winning a split, that's really hard to do. And the guy that had the biggest salary discrepancy was Jensen. And so it was tough for me to go, dude, we really like you on the field. We like you off the field. We think you're a great player. Would you like making less than half than what you did, what was projected for the next year? And that was a really tough conversation. And so what that meant was that I said, hey, look, I want you to make as much money as possible. Go out there and shop around, see what you can find, get the best deal possible, and then let me know. And he went out, shopped around, while we were trying to figure out what would the world look like without Jensen. Started thinking about different players that we would bring in. And when we met a few weeks later, we were still really far away from his salary ask and my salary spend, what I was willing to spend. And it became really clear, we actually need to come up with another mid, because this isn't going to work. Even though we really like working together, this is not going to work. I think some of the questions I saw out there were was this something that Jensen really wanted to push? No, he wanted to stay. This is something Cloud9 wanted to change? No, we wanted him to stay. But sometimes the finances just don't work out. And so our first move that we're revealing is, and I think everybody knows, Jensen will not be with us for next year. And we're really sad to see him go. We really appreciate everything he did for us. The fact that we finally got to have that LCS win with him and a trophy really feels good, because he's a big part of our history, and we got to have that huge highlight. And we all want to see him do really well playing against other teams but us. next year.
For me, I actually, when Jensen first was joining C9 and we weren't sure whether we'd get him, I was actually one of the players that was unsure, because I had heard rumors about him possibly not being the best teammate. And I talked to him about it before he joined, and I wanted to make sure that he understood where I was coming from, that I did have concerns. And when he joined the team, he actually was really, really good as a teammate. I was really surprised that he didn't really have any problems as a teammate. He was always playing a lot of games. He was always really, really helpful in terms of review. He wasn't ever getting emotional about arguments or anything like that. So I really like playing with Jensen. And I mean, it's unfortunate that obviously, the reality is money does sort of just decide a roster. And that's how it works. But I'm still really happy with how our roster turned out. I think Diplex, who will be our new mid laner, I'm going to announce.
You get to do that one. I'll do the sad one. You get the fun part.
Yeah, I'll get the fun part. Diplex, who is a German mid laner, he's 19, I believe.
Yes.
He will be our new mid laner in the LCS. He's, I think,
he's someone younger than you now.
That's true. Well, no, Berserker.
Oh yeah,
Berserker is still the youngest, I believe. Yeah. Actually, no. I think Diplex might be. Yeah, I think Diplex might be the youngest. Later. I think Diplex might be the youngest, but he's someone who's extremely good at melee mids, is what I noticed. And the way we actually scouted Diplex was, we sort of just went into the offseason and we were just looking at all the mid laners that were going to be obviously lower budget, because that's the reality of the situation, and someone who we thought could improve a lot. And we looked at a lot of different mid laners, and we saw his VODs, and we noticed that he was very, very good, very vocal, which is one thing. And another thing was he also was really good at melee mid laners. He played it pretty aggressively. I would say his team fighting was pretty good. I do think in terms of his laning, there's stuff to improve, but I believe that our coaches are like the best coaches in the league. And I think that they are very, very good at laning coaching. So I think he can improve a lot when it comes to that. And I have a lot of confidence in him.
Yeah, I would say like one of the tougher things to teach players is communication and team fighting. And he's already got that. Those are where he excels.
Yeah, that's what he's good at.
So the stuff that's easier to instruct and work with players, with coaches on is laning stuff and champion pool.
Yeah.
And so we feel really confident in his ability to step up and keep the quality of our team extremely high.
Yeah.
So welcome, Diplex. Super excited.
Yeah.
That guy was kind of the slacker, by the way, on signing contracts. We had 5 contracts signed yesterday within an hour of free agency, and this dude goes to bed. I guess it's kind of late.
I mean, to be fair,
it was like 12:30 or something.
What, 12:30? He's going to bed?
I like it. This kid goes to bed early and wakes up for that.
It's off season, bro. You got to wake up at 2 p.m.
Yeah, no, I like it. This is good. This is good. Good sign. But I was told as soon as he wakes up, he'll sign this thing, and he signed it something like 5:00 German time. So I don't know about that one, but
5 p.m.
5 p.m.
God damn, bro.
I know, slacking, but
off schedule.
Yeah, I know. We were almost about to like. Well, not gonna go to that. But anyways, all right. So the rest of the roster is the same dudes.
Yeah, it's the same dudes.
Surprise, surprise. The average age of our team just dropped dramatically. Sorry, Jensen.
Yeah, Jensen was a bit of an old man.
Yeah. So like we only have one boomer now. Sorry, Jasper. But so you know, I don't know. I think people were also really had question marks about Jesper. What's his story? Is he sticking around? And he was always really coy about it, be like, yeah, if I get an 80 spot, we'll see if I'm going to stick around. But that motherfucker loves us. He wasn't going anywhere. I never believed for a second he was going anywhere.
I mean, I think he really, really enjoyed playing with Berserker. And Berserker actually was one of the people that was really wanted to work with Zven. So I'm really, really happy that they really enjoyed playing with each other, their first split. And I think that they will be the best bot lane by far in the league. I think that during 2022 summer, they actually just annihilated the bot lane during playoffs. Yeah. And I assume they will continue to do so next year.
Yeah, it was, I mean, even in scrims, like towards the set back half of a split, they were just like destroying all the time. And it was cool because when I asked Berserker, like, okay, like my one-on-ones with him, like who do you want to play with? And I knew Core JJ was going to be a free agent. I was worried that he's going to like get me that guy. And I'm like, of anyone, who do you want to play with?
A bit expensive though.
I want to play with Jesper. What about Core JJ, dude? He's like, nope, I want Jesper, no one else. I'm like, okay, good. That was good. It was really good to hear. I told Jesper that, told Zven that, and he, of course, really liked that.
That's good. Yeah.
But he's our boomer. He's sticking around, and I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I just play with a lot of old men. On
yeah,
my team.
Well, that was one old man, right? Because you got 3 young kids.
Berserker's old. I mean, not Berserker.
Blaber, he's 22.
Is he 22? He's 23.
He's just well, maybe did he just turn 23? Anyone know? Anyone?
I don't know. As soon as you're 23-year-old in my books.
I mean, that's still really young.
For the record, Diplex is 2 months younger.
2 months younger than Berserker.
He's our new youngest player is Diplex. And maybe Blaber is now a boomer.
I also heard Diplex is Driplex.
Oh,
he's drippy.
No,
apparently,
talk about
he's got the clothes apparently, and I look forward to seeing it.
Yeah,
you better have some. We're gonna take him to Rodeo Drive. If you guys know what that is. I'm
not letting him wear nothing but Gucci. I've seen other mid laners do that from Germany. I don't know how he let him out of that store looking like that.
Look what happened to the German mid laner that had a lot of Gucci. Okay,
back to Germany, I guess.
We don't even know actually.
I don't know. All right. So that's our LCS roster. We feel super like positive about this roster. I think it's going to be potentially stronger than we've seen like last year. And it has no slight on Jensen, but what can a team do with more than 5 weeks before playoffs?
Yeah.
So I'm super excited to see what we do.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, there's a big part of the team that we have not talked about yet.
Ooh.
A certain Spanish individual from the islands. Yes, thank you, Mateus, for the prod. So let's talk about coaching changes. You want to talk about that, or you want me to do it?
You can start, but I can give my input.
Okay. All right. So one of the things that became available in the offseason, one of the people that became available was one of our former coaches, Mithy. He came to us in 2021 as an assistant coach. He got promoted, not exactly, I would say it's against his will, like straight up.
Not necessarily fully against his will, but like kind of against his will.
I'll tell you the story. Literally, after being head coach of Fnatic, I wanted him to come be your coach. And he said, I'll come, but I do not want to be head coach. I only want to be assistant coach. And I don't want that all responsibility of the head coach. Turns out he gets drafted to be our head coach in summer. And he was amazing. He actually took on the role. He did a really good job. But after that, he's like, I need a break. I'm going back to assistant coaching. And he took the job at 100 Thieves. But he's returning to us. He said he's ready for the head coach role. He's ready to take it on. And we're super excited to welcome Mithy back as the head coach of Cloud9. So the first question.
Okay. I have something to talk about Mithy.
Uh-oh.
So actually, funnily enough, in 2021 summer after Worlds, I was the reason why Mithy got kicked off C9. And the reason was I disagreed with a lot of his points. I thought that he was not the best in terms of like the way he coached was too argumentative, I guess. I think I've changed my perspective a bit on it. And I've also talked to him a bunch about it because I talked to him directly after he left in 2021 summer and then talked to him once this offseason started. And I'm actually really excited to work with him because I think that now that I have a bit of a more open mind, because I think back then I was a little bit less mature as a person. I think that he has a lot of really good ideas about the game. I think he can actually bring people to be more honest about their own point of view. I think he's someone that will start arguments sometimes, but I think those arguments are actually necessary a lot of the time because he cares a lot, and he cares a lot about making sure the team gets pushed forward. And I think that's important to have, especially in a head coach. So I'm actually excited to work with him a lot, despite perhaps having some controversy with him in the past. Yeah. That was a cool fact that no one knew, probably.
No, I was surprised you actually brought that up. Yeah, that's all true. Yeah, I'm really excited to have him back too. Yeah. I mean, and some of the arguments, I mean, him and Zven, like they've got, I mean, they're like an old married couple. Like, I don't even know how to explain the way they lock horns and just start yelling at each other. Like, we're like, are these guys going to go to blows? Like, what's up? But then like 10 minutes later, they're like hugging and they're fine. But I think we all had to get used to that because I'm not used to like players. That was
a culture shock for me, bro. My first year in the LCS, and I just got arguments.
These two legends of League of Legends just brawling.
I was like, Mithy and Zven, they're the best friends on earth. And then I go on the team and they're yelling at each other. And then I'm like, oh no, they probably hate each other. And then like one day later, they're like best friends again. And I'm like, yeah, I guess it's just about the game.
Yeah. And so, he's a very emotional guy, lots of hand gestures, and he gets kind of wild when he's talking. But I think that I'm really thrilled to have him back. I think he's going to bring a lot to the table. So that means, though, in order for that to happen, Max is going back to the top lane coach. Ooh. Yeah, for Fudge. And I'm really excited about it because those two guys worked extremely hard in 21, and I think we saw with that direct coaching, we saw Fudge grow a lot as a player, and he wasn't able to give that attention to Fudge last year when he was head coach. So we're bringing that back, and I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, and for me personally, I think for my own personality, I think I do need a bit of a push from a coach, and I think in 2021, Max gave that to me a lot. He was able to push me a lot to think about all the different individual like variables in a lane, how to think about the game, having a goal every time you play the game, making sure I understood all the 1v1 matchups. And I think in 2022, he was obviously like had to prioritize other things as the head coach. And I think now that he's going to be the positional coach again for me, I think he's also going to help out other positional coaches with their own coaching for, I think, mid lane, as far as I know, and maybe ADC.
Yeah, so he really perfected a way of like coaching lanes, and that he is going to take that knowledge of how he worked with you and apply it to the other lanes to teach those coaches how to coach better.
Yeah.
And so, Selfie, who is one of our mid lane coaches, and Vigar are going to be really working with him to take the work that he did in 2021 and apply it to our players for 2023.
Yeah.
And we're all super excited about this new project. Max is really excited to take it on.
Yeah. Do we want to talk about the academy roster?
Yeah. So now I've talked about coaching.
Yeah.
Almost all the coaching, but we're going to talk about academy roster. The first thing I want to talk about in the reverse order is coaching. So our bot lane coach, the man who made Berserker from a boy to a man, Sam, is going to be Reven. Sam / Reven is running our academy program. And we got a pretty special academy program. And I think his duo in the bot lane in coaching was Tristan, aka Zazel.
Yep.
And Zazel and Sam decided they're going to make the best damn academy, and now it's actually called Challenger team here in North America. And so they set out with that goal. This will make a goddamn good team. And Zazel, like, although he was coaching, he was still like top 20 solo queue the entire time. The guy was very in tune with what players are up and coming. And those two basically handpicked the team that they're going to be working with for next year.
And the team is the old 100 Thieves prodigy, Fake God.
Yeah.
That's the top laner. We got Tomio. We swapped, I think, Tomio for Shaden.
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did. That's another roster leak. There you go. We got Tomio in the jungle. We got Emenes, who actually used to play in OCE, so I actually know about Emenes back in the good old days. And then we got
some guy from OCE.
That's right.
I've lost his name.
I lost his name. We got lost.
Yeah.
We got lost. He honestly, I didn't even remember that he's from OC because he speaks like he's from America. So I don't know. But anyway, we got lost and we got Zazel on the bot lane.
No. And I think this team is so good out the gate. They could be a legitimate scrim partner for our LCS team. I'm super excited to see these guys work really hard and grab a spot in the LCS, hopefully on another team, right?
Maybe not.
But maybe not. Who knows?
Maybe Fake will be better than me.
Yeah, who knows? But like, we're gonna, we always work really tightly with our challenger team. And we all work out of the same house, exchanging ideas, pushing each other to be better. There'll be some top lane synergy with you and Fake God.
I already messaged Fake God.
Yeah, they're gonna
1v1s.
They're gonna get in the lab, work with Max, and figure some shit out. We'll have Emenes and Diplex, and there are two mid coaches working with them.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of work between our challenger team and our LCS team. I don't think we've put that to the test as much as we had like in spring of last year, like in summer. That wasn't really happening, but we're bringing that back for sure.
Yeah. One of the ideas I had about it was we actually warm up with our academy team on game days, because in my opinion, a lot of pro players don't actually warm up and they just like go into the game, their best of ones, and just play cold. And it's like, you just don't play as well. So I think one of the really good things about having such a good academy team is we'll be able to hopefully warm up against them. Or if we don't end up playing a full game against them, I'll just play 1v1s against Fake God, which is really, really useful. And I think he's already really, really good. He's already had a lot of experience in like the league. So it's going to be fun. Also, I don't know if we want to talk about Emenes because he has some rumors.
Let's hit it up.
What exactly are the possible rumors that people say about Emenes that could be worrying, you could say?
Inting in scrims, inting on stage.
Well, that's respectable though. I mean,
staying up all night doing things.
I heard he drinks a lot of alcohol, so he's perfect at Los Angeles.
Yeah. So
he's also 21.
So none of that.
I thought he might have been under 21, so I was like, maybe he's under 21, but he's 21.
Yeah. So I mean, there is this toxicity and rumor, and it was something that we knew about before we even talked with him. But everyone said, this kid is insane. Like, look at his VODs. His mechanical skill is really good. If there's any team that's going to be able to figure it out and get him on the straight and narrow, it's going to be Cloud9. You should talk to him. And we went into this thinking there's no way we're taking this guy. I'm like straight up, like there's no way.
Yeah.
And our first interview with him, I was there, and and Blaber's like, Jack, let me take over this one. So Blaber was actually there for the first interview, and Blaber would ask a question, and his agent kept like replying.
Yeah.
And Blaber's like, yo, agent, like, no disrespect, but shut up. And I need to talk to Emenes. And so he started asking questions, and literally straight silence. So we get off the call, and Blaber's like, well, that's not going to work. That's done. And then he pings Blaber and goes, so Emenes goes, hey, Blaber, can we just do a one-on-one conversation right now? And so they get on, and speaking full English, just the two of them, no translator whatsoever, had a really good conversation about where do these rumors come from, what happened, and Blaber got to an understanding of why there were frustrations with his past teams, and understood that Emenes really regretted the way he exhibited his frustration. And everything he said was legit. Like Blaber felt like, okay, this guy's being real with me. He's being real with his shortcomings and his huge desire to prove to us that he can be a good teammate. And he said, put me on the academy. Let me like have my shot to prove I can be a good teammate. Let me show you I can be a good player. And Blaber getting off that call, he's like, holy shit, I actually like this kid. He was literally shocked. He's like, after talking with him, his English is good, and I liked him. I believe in him. I think we should get him. Let's put him on our academy team. And I think Blaber had to basically convince all of us that we liked him, and he's continued to speak with them, and we're going to take a gamble on this kid. We think that, with the proper guidance and with our structure and our systems.
With a 10 a.m. workout, I think it's impossible to be a bad person. Honestly, in this offseason, I was being a complete degenerate. And then Jack messaged me one day, hey, you have to come to the 10 a.m. workout. And ever since then, I've been mentally clear. I'm a great person. I love my life. Love the offseason. I'm relaxing. We're great.
Yeah, that's right.
10 a.m. workouts.
I saw everyone waking up super late. I'm like, what the F is going on?
Yeah, I was waking up at like 2 a.m.
Yeah. And so I like to call it forced family fun. And so all the managers, all the coaches, all the players, they got to come work out with me at 10 a.m. And it's good for me. Like if I know everyone's waiting for me, then I show up too.
That's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sore.
Yeah. Me too, actually. God damn, Juvie's destroying us lately.
Legend.
Yeah, it's good stuff. All right. What stuff do you guys want to talk about? I feel like we've been just blathering on.
Well, we got some questions lined up here for you guys. Question number 1. We know that every year the team wants to do an off-season bootcamp in Korea. Are you guys planning to do this year?
Okay, I'll take over. So Blaber said 3. For me, it's just been 2 because basically we've gone to Korea pretty much whenever we could the past 2 times, and there's been a lot of issues with visas and being able to get to Korea and actually be able to practice.
COVID?
Yeah, because of COVID especially. And we haven't really been able to actually make it an efficient use of especially money, considering how much it costs. It's ridiculous. And we didn't really make too much value out of it. And I don't think we really saw it as worth it, to be honest, especially now. There's not like infinite amount of money, it's like it costs a lot of money to go to Korea, especially considering all the players have business class flights guaranteed on their contracts. That's like, that was a mistake. No way, bro. But I mean, I also think that a lot of Korean boot camps, what the actual value out of it, don't get me wrong, the players are really, really good. There's a lot more players. They're way better mechanically. They push you to get a lot better mechanically. I do think it's also important just the mentality shift when you go to Korea. And I think that if we're able to sort of instill that mentality regardless, once we start the split, I think that people will still improve really, really rapidly. And I believe we're looking to start around start of January, right?
Yeah. So everyone needs to be on a flight traveling to LA and arriving on the 2nd.
Yeah.
So there's some like issues with, I love like Korean boot camps, like the idea of them are really good, but the patching of League of Legends, the existence of like really important family holidays that I do not want to disrupt, and the start of the season all add up to the time you'd need to be in Korea for it to be actually valuable to be right on Christmas, right on New Year's, right when I don't really want to disturb the people. And even then, even that would be on a patch that's not what we'd be playing on when the split starts. So it's just not optimal for timing. There's also the entire trip, the process of going to Korea is very exhausting, and the year is very long. And I've had a lot of perspective shifts. Like this year, it's been an incredibly hard year for me for a lot of reasons. And what I've realized that it's super important to work hard at the right time to be peaking as you're going into finals. And I think we can reach that peak if we start around January 3rd. And I think we'll be hitting that peak correctly for spring. And then going into spring playoffs, we should be in really good shape, qualify for MSI, go get incredible practice wherever. I don't know if it's been released yet, so I'm not going to talk about it, but wherever MSI is, we'll get really good practice there. But should we not go to MSI, which would never happen, but if that happens, we're going to Korea. We're immediately going to Korea, and we will get really good practice before summer split so we can be going into summer split as strong as possible. So there's a bit of timing. There's a bit of patch issues. There's a bit of like family respect for what people do during the holidays that all come into it just not being a really good time, in our opinion, to go out to Korea.
Yeah. Nice and easy.
Awesome. Perfect. So let's go to the next question. What was this off-season scouting like? Do you feel that the academy team is catered more towards instant success or long-term development?
Is this for LCS team or for the
Academy.
Okay, well, so for Challenger.
Challenger now.
So I want to be really clear on how I view Challenger. It is not a place to sit. It is like a bus stop on your way to LCS. My goal is to get these players ready for LCS as fast as possible. In any spot that opens up, they want to take it, it's theirs. And so I want instant success out of this academy team, and I want to see them raise like the Challenger trophy and get a job on the LCS as fast as possible. Cloud9 has done better than any other team in history in North America in getting players from our academy system onto LCS teams, whether it be ours or other teams. And I want to continue with doing that. And that's my promise to all our players.
Sounds good.
I mean, he's living proof. So is Blaber. So is Palafox.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
Palafox.
Palafaker. There's the list goes on. But there's that's our goal there. And so that's how our academy system runs.
Hell yeah. Cool. Let's see what we got here next. Something that has been going on social media a lot is about the format in the LEC. Do you guys have any thoughts on the proposed format changes to LEC and also LCK? I think there's some changes in the playoffs for LCK, where bottom two teams drop after the first few weeks and the games move to best of 3. And what changes to the LCS format would you like to see?
I haven't read through the format changes really in depth and thought about them. So I don't really have to.
Yeah. So LEC is moving to best of 3. Mm-hmm. They are shrinking the regular season to be much smaller. So they get right into playoffs. So best of 5s as fast as possible. And they're doing, correct me if I'm wrong, I think 3 splits. Is that right, guys? Yeah, 3 splits. And this is like a system that I've been pushing here in North America because I think the fans get, at least I personally, really bored in a really long regular season. And it's really, the regular season is just like seeding for the playoff bracket. So why spend most of our time, like 8 or 9 weeks, doing seeding for what actually matters, the playoffs? And why not do more playoffs and have more like LAN events all around North America? So I love what LEC is doing, and I hope that we bring that over next year.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what you said about having a really long regular season. It sort of just feels like as a player, you're almost like you don't know when you should be like, because obviously you don't have an infinite amount of like focus, right? As a player, you have to know when you want to like grind the entire day and when you want to like take a break. And when you're in the regular season, it almost feels like you're like, when should I start like really getting into like the groove of things? When should I be grinding all day? And it's really, really hard. And if you grind every single week, and then once you get to the summer split, you might feel like you're tired, you're mentally exhausted, you don't really want to play as much league as you did in spring. So I personally think that just having it shorter would make more sense, at least better for the players. Also, I think obviously all the spectators agree with this when it comes to like, no one really cares about the regular season, especially of spring. And it's sort of just too long. It drags out way too long. Obviously, like when you watch the really good teams play against the really good teams, there's some cool storylines, right? But other than that, it doesn't really get the eye of anyone.
I think it plays into actually the whole discussion about having the boot camp in Korea. Historically, I would be like, okay, we sign the player, the sign of players go immediately to Korea and start grinding. And we would come into spring really hot, but around like the last third of spring, we would be burning out and other teams would start catching up, and we'd be going into playoffs actually not at the peak, but on the decline. And so for years, we didn't really do well in those springs. And these are learnings I'm learning. Like, I need us to be peaking as we're going into playoffs. That's what's the most important. That's what we did in summer too. Peaking at the right time is very important. So if taking this back to LEC, if you've shortened the regular season, the teams are all going to be working super hard during that regular season, because just in a few weeks, they're going into playoffs and every game really matters. So LEC system is insane. And I'm jealous.
Also best of threes?
Best of threes during the regular season, and I think best of fives in playoffs. But I read the article quite a while ago, so it's I might be wrong on that.
It's a single best of one round robin, and then it goes to best of three.
All right, thanks. So
like
best of three in playoffs. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
All right. So the mysterious voice off camera just told me it's best of ones in the regular season going into best of three in the playoffs. And I think that's good. Like, because the regular season honestly doesn't matter. It's just placement into the playoff brackets. And then you get the real stuff.
All right. A lot of people are talking about the format, but here's my question. There has been a lot of talks about potential players coming back to the LCS and imports coming to the LCS. Do you guys expect the LCS next year is going to have the biggest viewership in the past years with these new players coming?
Hard question. I think that some teams might be able to break the peak of the viewership. For example, if rumored that Ruler might come to the LCS or Faker might come to the LCS, I think those teams specifically will break viewership numbers in terms of peak. However, like consistent, I'm unsure. I do believe that LCS is working on specific things or ideas to try to increase viewership next year. But we'll just have to see when it comes to action. Honestly, if I had to guess, I doubt that it will get increase, to be honest, like on average viewership. But if it does, then, I mean, obviously I'm hoping it does, right? Then hopefully, I think the imports coming in will definitely be able to help that.
So when I think about it, like when I look at the rosters that are on paper, and they haven't been confirmed by the teams yet, but they look really good. Like, they're really interesting.
Yeah.
I like the FlyQuest roster. Like individually, each player is actually really, I think, really good. I don't know how they're going to work together, because it's 3 Korean dudes and then 2 English speaking, like jungle and support. And if you generally, like the jungle and support are really kind of tying the team together. And with those 2 guys having a different language, it's going to be really interesting how it comes together. But they're all super highly skilled players. And if I look at all the other teams outside of FlyQuest, they look really interesting. They look really competitive. So I think from a competitive viewpoint, it could be a really fun split. So I'm looking forward to that. Now on viewership, we're using the exact same system as last year. And so that's not super exciting, but last year we did have a viewership bump. And I think the viewership bump was in large part to the league trying new stuff, like bringing more players on camera running interviews, bringing like, color from them, analysts from players. And I think that's great. Like Fudge was on camera a lot. Jesper was on camera. Those guys were doing like really well. Whippo was fantastic. And I think if they run with that, that will help like viewership naturally. And if we have a really competitive split, that'll also help. Obviously, if we saw like Faker, like Hands, or like Ruler show up, that would be bonkers. But I don't think we can depend on that. And in general, I think the trajectory will be better.
Yeah. I think like the LCS has been trying to do a lot of things, bringing people, like players' perspective, which is good for the broadcast. I think they're trying to reach new audiences by bringing people that are not just LCS. They're trying to use streamers to drive more viewership. I think next year it's going to be much better.
Speaking of streamers, Doublelift.
Ooh, yeah.
Possibly in the LCS.
That's exciting.
I don't know why a streamer's playing in the LCS, but I look forward to it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really, I really hope he's in. It's going to be really fun to see that. I would be interested to see how he performs, see if he thinks springs doesn't matter. We'll see.
Yeah, he's not bad.
Yeah, definitely top 10 AD carry.
Because also Doublelift he brings a lot of fire to the LCS, and that brings a lot of character to the league.
He has been missed for sure.
Hell yeah, love that. So going back a little bit to the rosters, I think something that people are interesting to know, and of course it goes from teams to teams, but how usually when creating a roster, do you guys usually sit down, like Jack, do you usually sit down with the coaches, with yourself, with just the players, or do you group everyone and like have a meeting to talk about potential players? How is the process of creating a roster?
I do think like I spend a lot of time with the players and coaches trying to figure out and come to some sort of consensus of where the group wants to go as a whole. And after like a few days, really, you kind of see who that like kind of core of the team is going to be, and then you start building around that. This particular year was like almost no changes, just a couple of changes. But like when there's been huge change, it might just be like 3 people out of all those folks that I build around. There is no like standard operating like manual on how to do it. There's no like real map that I follow. Each split has been unique and different. So it's hard to say like this is my strategy and how I always do it. It's really just like talking with the players, getting a feel for what their goals are, what the coaches' goals are, and where do I see the synergies? Who really wants to work together? Who is like really bought into what we're doing, and then build around that.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's a really cool fun fact from the Cloud9 roster. Here we have a question from the audience. It's from Shop. Is Reven going to just be academy, or he's still gonna work with Berserker on the main team?
As far as I'm aware, he will just be the academy head coach. Actually, surprisingly, I saw Reven already reach out to all the players in this offseason and say that he wants to like figure out plans, wants to know what champions and solo queue they want to practice, and then each week have 2 hours of review with them. And I was like, God damn, bro.
I saw a little sweat going down his head. He's like, wait a second.
I was like, damn, bro.
No, Reven is so motivated.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing that.
And I love seeing how hungry. This is what I want to see out of like my challenger players. They want to break into the LCS. They want to steal jobs. They're going to put in the extra. Like those guys should be the hardest working people on the team. Because if they're not working harder than every LCS player, they're not going to take their jobs. And they like literally the day they were signed, they were already making plans, and I love it.
Hell yeah. And for the last question, we have, what is his name? Oh, it's Aaron. If the Team Liquid Summit rumor is true, is Fudge looking forward to laning against him?
Summit is Very good.
It's pretty good.
So when I saw that rumor, honestly, I was kind of like, God damn it.
It's kind of hype though, right?
I was like, it's going to be hard to play.
What team do you think he's going to really want to beat?
He's going to want to beat us. 100%.
He's going to want to beat the shit out of us.
He's gonna want to shit on me, bro.
That's how it goes. Like
But,
your former team.
I know how good Summit is in terms of his laning, in terms of his mechanical skill. He's really, really good. I do also know that he has very clear weaknesses when it comes to his understanding of the game and his awareness of the whole map when he makes decisions. Sometimes he just dies to a lot of ganks, and he might have improved on that. I'm not sure. It's obviously something that a player can come into a new season and have a really good idea of what they think they're bad at and can actually improve on it quite quickly. So I'm not going to say that he will die to a lot of ganks, but I do think that's one of his weaknesses. But it's still very, very difficult to play against him as a top laner just because he is someone that is much better than all the other top laners I'll probably play against in the LCS in terms of mechanical laning.
Yeah, I'm just like, the two teams I'm going to be keeping an eye on next year are Team Liquid and Dignitas. I know the last time Jensen didn't stay with us and he moved to TL, he got 2 trophies right away and right in my face. we had some famous or infamous tweets by someone who might be answering or putting out the questions that put us in a pretty ugly light with Jensen. So I know Jensen and Summit are going to be looking to just punish us. And I think that's gonna be really fun to see those dudes. Because I mean, Summit's a great dude too. I'm really excited to have him back in NA.
Yeah.
Hell yeah! I think we're all excited to watch the matchup between Summit and Fudge. I think that's something that everyone's looking forward. And that was it for today. For the first ever STRATUS exclusive Cloud9 LCS roster review, AMA presented by Blockchain.com and Polygon. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to follow Cloud9 on social media, you can follow the Twitter. The STRATUS Twitter is twitter.com/C9STRATUS.
Twitter.com/FudgeCakey.
Also, twitter.com/JackEtienne for more Cloud9 updates. And don't forget that if you want to join STRATUS, you can sign up on Cloud9 on c9.gg/wallet for 2 free months of STRATUS, thanks to blockchain.com. Thank you so much. And that will be it for tonight. Thanks, hope everyone has a good evening. Later, and see you in the LCS.
Later, bruh.